One of the things I like about DAZ 3D is the depth of their back catalog, especially with clothing for figures like V4. In particular, I'm just going to show you how to fit things like shoes onto current figures like G3F. Now, the only problem with fitting shoes, as you'll see in a minute, is that they do not fit properly even if you use the AutoFit clones. So if I fit this onto Genesis 3 female, and I use the Victoria 4 clone, what will essentially happen is that the footwear will become heavily distorted. Now, there are plenty of tutorials online on how to actually fix that distortion. I'm here to show you another method, which in my opinion is a lot easier because we do not have to deal with adjusting the weight maps. So I'm just going to load another pair. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to again convert this into a figure. So general weight mapping, okay. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to transfer the weight maps over. So, oh, there's a bug in DAZ 3D, so I'm just going to fix that right now. To fix that, I'm going to rename this to 4, so then it's actually distinguishable from the previous other ones. And I'm going to transfer the weight maps over. Now, I'm not actually transferring the shape. Notice how I'm unchecking all of these over here. I'm just transferring the weight maps or the bones over to the actual shoe, because the problem with converting this from the object to the figure is that it has no other bone that just presents with the hip bone. So now, as you can see, it now has all the other bones associated with it. So now that I have the bones, we can actually, pose this particular shoe. So what I'm going to do to actually fix this is I'm going to translate this over and attempt to fit this shoe to the figure. Well, somewhat fit the shoe. So the first thing I'm going to do here is, you'll notice that I matched the heel over here, but I still have to rotate the entire shoe. So what I'm going to do here, that's the wrong one, is I'm going to rotate along the x-axis such that it becomes relatively straight. As you can see, it doesn't have to be entirely straight, just approximate it so that we can somewhat fit it on there. Now you'll notice that we don't know whether it's truly colliding with it, so we can turn on the light wireframe. You can see how the figure matches up with the shoe. And I'm going to move this forward slightly, and move this up a little bit. Now inevitably you'll run into a point where you'll have to adjust the heel. So you can, or adjust the foot rather. So you can see that the heel of the foot rests properly over here. Next up, we can adjust the rotation of it. As you can see, the rotation is slightly off. So we can rotate this, that's a long Y. You can see that adjusted a little bit. And the great thing about using the light wireframe is you can see how the heel matches up. So let's do it like that. We also have to widen a little. You can see the foot doesn't quite fit. We can move this from the side a little. You can see it kind of fits. I'm going to adjust the Z scale, so I move the shoe back a little bit, but it means that we have to move this back a little bit, widen it a little, change this so it's a little bit more forward, and check the other things, and it's kind of good enough for the first run. what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to change the other scales. Just slightly. Actually, I don't even have to do that. I'm just going to rotate it. Such that it comes up even better. So you can see fits kind of well, but we're not done yet. So the first thing we're going to do in order to get this to fit is that we're going to export this heel. So notice everything else is hidden. I'm going to export it, call this heel 4, and then we're going to update the geometry just like our previous tutorial. So update geometry, update vertex positions, heel 4. And you notice that it flies off into the air. The reason I'm not cloning or loading a copy of it is so that, for the interest of time, we're going to skip a couple of steps. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go figure, 0, 0 figure pose. And you'll see that one of the problems with zeroing the figure, even if I go 0 figure, doesn't really zero those. So I'm just going to go 0 shape, doesn't set these back to 100. So I am going to manually set those back to 100. You'll see we'll get the base shape back. And I turn on, turn this back on, you'll see that this was what we had before. Now, what I'm going to do here to show you the power of this is, or not the power, but the limitation of it, is if I start moving the bones now, so I'm just going to try to select the metatarsal from here. It's kind of hard, and it doesn't allow me to do it, so I might have to actually manually go to bone. There it is. So if I just choose the left metatarsal bone, and I try to bend this, I haven't actually fit it in yet. Hold on a second. So let's fit it, and then I'm going to move the bone. You'll see that the shoe moves along with it, and it's not supposed to do that. Shoes are stiff. So the way we get around this, well, I'm going to go quickly to V4 to show you how this works. So you see here, for the heel, it is actually parented to the foot itself and not the toe. And if I apply the pose, you'll see that only the toes move and not the heel. This is because the shoe itself has no bones there. And if I move the foot itself, notice that it moves along with the foot and nothing else, everything else is stiff. So what we're going to do in this case is that we're going to take our figure, in this case G3F, and we're going to, or not G3F, our heel, and we're going to delete all of the other bones associated with the toes. So I'm going to expand this. You see here left foot. And you'll see that we have a bunch of bones here. I'm going to switch over to the joint editor. And we're going to delete everything from the left toes all the way to the big toe. Seems simple enough. However, you can't select everything from this menu and try to delete them. It doesn't work. I've tried. So you have to delete them one by one. So you can just click on one of these. You just go delete. However, you run the risk of selecting the wrong thing. So it's better to click, then delete. Click, delete, and delete them as you go along. Okay, so you're left with the left foot, metatarsals, and the heel. And they re-enable G3F, And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to bend the same bones, and what should happen, oh right, I've got to delete that bone. We'll have to delete the left metatarsal bone as well. And as we move that metatarsal bone, the shoe stays still. And we can move the toes up like that. Big toe down a bit. You can see it works quite well. And to finish off, we can select the foot, bend it down, and add a smoothing modifier.